Here's your weekly media malfeasance for the week of 9/13, bringing you what's ignored, sensationalized, unbalanced, misleading, or just plain false. At the beginning of this week, a crowdsourcing post by WXYZ out of Detroit gains traction and backfires. Now at nearly 200,000 shares, the station posed this question. After the vaccines were available to everyone, did you lose an unvaccinated loved one to COVID-19? If you're willing to share your family story, please DM us your contact information. The post was then flooded with stories of jab side effects and deaths. Comments like, just curious, when is the story coming out about those who lost loved ones who were fully jabbed? Or I'd like to see a story about the most powerful ways to stay healthy, not just one steady stream of fear. And I know people who died painfully from the vaccine. Want those stories? As the top comment says, this wasn't the response you expected, I suspect. There are thousands of detailed comments of adverse effects or death following the shot. Obviously, you can't verify every comment, but they were going to run with a story based on the one-sided narrative they sought, right? And why are the Society of Professional Journalists' code of ethics frequently ignored? Like this one. The public is entitled to as much information as possible to judge the reliability and motivations of sources. Why don't we look at motivations for both sides logically? One side stands to benefit monetarily and is in collusion with Big Pharma. What's the other side's motivation? What would motivate people to lie about concerns over the shot, which we can see just leads to censorship and ridicule? Meanwhile, many news outlets continue bombarding us about at or overcapacity hospital concerns. But is there enough coverage on staffing issues contributing to the problem? The Washington Post put out this article saying a New York hospital won't deliver babies after staffers resigned over the coronavirus vaccine mandate. Are we getting accurate hospital numbers in general? This leaked Zoom call between North Carolina health officials begs the question.
Maybe we need to be completely a little bit more scary for the public.
Maybe we need to be completely a little more scary for the public?
So how do we include those post-COVID people in the numbers of the patients we have in the hospital?
How do we include post-COVID numbers? What?
Kellen, we can talk offline and how we run that up to marketing.
We can talk offline? In other words, they don't want us hearing how they're manipulating numbers. Got it. And then we heard about the California recall election all week. Outlets like MSNBC were saying it was Trump's new election fraud testing ground, almost as if they had to make an election rigging claim preemptive strike. It says they're also spreading evidence-free claims that the election is rigged against them. Evidence-free? What's going on here?
We spoke with several concerned voters here in the West San Fernando Valley who believe something wonky had been going on.
I went to El Camino High School to vote. Got there at 10:30, gave her this, and she scanned it and said, "You voted." And I said, "No, I haven't." And she said, "This has been happening all morning." The man next to me was arguing the same thing. So as I left, I did the provisional ballot. And I was just really angry. And I saw two women walking toward me as I left. And I said, "Don't be surprised if they tell you you've already voted." And she said, "They've already done that." If I voted, how did I vote?
Oh, nothing to see here. Remember when it was perfectly acceptable to say an election was rigged?
We recognize the process was rigged. And now it is up to Democrats to build a new process, a process that really works.
You can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
Well, on that note, buried in the news this week, a Durham update. A grand jury indicts Michael Sussman, the lawyer accused of making false statements during the 2016 presidential campaign in the final months of the election. It says he lied about the capacity in which he was providing allegations to the FBI of potential cyber links between a Russian bank and a company owned by former President Donald Trump. And Durham continues to investigate a theory that Sussman was secretly representing Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, according to the Washington Post. There's a whole lot of other doozies to dig into from the indictment, but don't count on mainstream media to tell you. Just read the whole thing yourself. Now, coming on the heels of CNN and multiple others sensationalizing and misrepresenting Joe Rogan,
Do I have to sue CNN?
I don't know, do you?
They're making shit up. They keep saying I'm taking horse dewormer. I literally got it from a doctor.
another celebrity gets a taste of the media twisting words. Nicki Minaj tweets 3 lies in a row from huge news platforms. I cited my child as why I didn't want to travel, but notice how none of them mentioned that. Ask yourself why that was. She had said she wanted to do more research on the jab and found out what happens when you step out of line for daring to ask questions about the approved narrative. Then gets backlash for daring to point out someone from the opposite party line had her back. She tweets, right, I can't speak to, agree with, even look at someone from a particular political party. People aren't human anymore. And look who makes it back in the news this week, playing PR for Hunter Biden. New York Times says the FEC ruled that Twitter's decision in October to block an unsubstantiated article about President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, did not violate election laws. Unsubstantiated?
There could be a laptop out there that was stolen from me.
But that's okay. New York Times quietly deletes its assertion that the article was unsubstantiated. It changes the article's wording without so much as an editor's note. And that's all the time we have for this week, but stay tuned. Media malfeasance is always abundant. Till next week, I'm Christy Lee.